Ukrainian armed forces soldiers take combat drugs and Ukrainian refugees in the EU are offered humiliating work. These are examples of fakes that are spread by Kremlin propaganda. Investigative journalists from Meduza, Important Stories and The Bell found out that the Russian state company Dialog is engaged in the creation of such false stories.
The Dialog was created as an organization that would receive feedback from the population of Russia, including so that the state could communicate with the regions. But in fact, of course, we see that this is such a classic giant propaganda machine. That is, it has been creating various fakes lately. This, naturally, is a concentration on the topic of Ukraine, fakes about Ukraine, about the war. It also actively works on Telegram and other social networks.
Dialog began its propaganda work back in 2020 with campaigning for amendments to the constitution of the Russian Federation. After the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the agenda changed. For example, in the reporting documents, journalists found recommendations from the Russian Ministry of Defense on how to respond to high-profile cases of lack of ammunition and provisions among those mobilized. The military was forced to write down a retraction, which is done strictly.
They complain that we have nothing. This is all untrue. We have all. I want to convey my deep gratitude to all those who helped my unit. Guys, thank you.
A few months after the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, a new department appeared at Dialog, which began creating fake news about Ukrainians. One such was immediately exposed by netizens. They found out that the leaflet supposedly posted in Germany turned out to be the fake, and the photo was taken near the Dialog office in Moscow.
When the war began, it became clear that Ukraine was winning very powerfully in the information space and is still winning, and we had to constantly come up with something. We came up with fakes, stop logging in, we needed something else. The format stopped working, and the channels began to take on fakes less often. An anonymous employee of the Dialog company in a comment for Meduza.
Another favorite format is exposing supposedly Ukrainian propaganda. A special Telegram channel was created for this purpose. Most often, the news itself cannot be refuted. Then, according to Dialog's instructions, you need to discredit the source. For example, refer to the fact that photographic and video evidence is not attached.
Half of what they expose there is complete nonsense, and those fakes that they themselves create are also very easy to expose. But nevertheless, this is done by a very large group of employees. This is several dozen people for sure. For some reason, well, maybe they really aren't trying, maybe it's just, well, impossible in general to come up with effective propaganda for the nonsense that's going on. But one way or another, the funding is huge.
The crisis of creativity is well illustrated by one of Dialog's internal presentations. In it, the authors propose to simply steal creative ideas in support of Ukraine and adapt them in Russian way. For example, a Canadian perfumer released a series of perfumes in support of Ukraine, and propagandists proposed creating a fragrance with the smell of Donbass. In response to the release of a comic book about Volodymyr Zelensky, Dialog came up with hand-drawn superheroes. One of them is the boy Alyosha, the second is Alexander Zakharchenko. Reported by Serhiy Kulas, Vasyl Panasiuk, UATV News.